Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, January 19th, and Pittsburgh snowed in.
Yeah, we got a quarter inch on the ground. We're snowed in, baby. It's going to be a
I
good
bet there's
3-day
no
weekend.
milk or toilet paper at Giant Eagle whatsoever.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice 3-day weekend. Thanks to
It's not even that bad outside.
Yeah, we got a quarter inch. What do you mean?
That's bad for North Carolina. This is Pittsburgh.
Oh,
We need more.
it doesn't snow anymore. So
No, well, everybody benefited, though. They canceled most schools yesterday, so everybody knew they're still sleeping in. It's going to be a good day. Everybody's going to be happy this weekend here in the Berg, so I'm excited.
if it's going to snow, it might as well be a Friday, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
What
for
the
sure.
hell? What the hell? But boys, yeah, we got to get right into it today. We got a big conversation. No waiting for this one. All right. Big news, big changes coming to the real estate world, potentially on commission. And we're not going to get into the lawsuit. We're not going to get into any of that. We're just going to discuss what happens down the road if a buyer has to pay their own buyer's commission. So in the Pittsburgh area, pretty much across the country, it's pretty common in a real estate transaction. It has been for, I don't know, 100 years or so, that the seller pays the commission to the seller's agent. Then the seller's agent decides how much of that commission they're going to give to the buyer's agent, usually split equally or roughly around there. There's changes coming that the buyer may now have to start paying their own agent, which kind of makes sense. I probably, if you did a poll of brand new buyers, I'm sure they would assume that they have to pay their own agent. But you get into it, you find out you don't have to. It's like, oh, if I don't have to, I don't have to, you know. But also,
a lot of them are in shock all the time. They're like, "Wait, I don't have to pay anything." I'm like, "No, you don't. The seller's paying for this one, but you'll have to pay eventually."
Right. But we all know it's paid somehow. It's either in the purchase price or, you know, that commission is into that transaction somewhere. But a lot of new buyers don't realize the closing cost either. So, of course, the biggest question now is if a buyer has to pay a buyer's agent commission, let's just use a flat $1,000. Okay. Do you believe is that going to have to be on a sales contract? I would assume we're going to have to verify those funds, and the buyer is going to have to prove that they can close with that extra funds in their bank account, and that's probably going to be on the closing disclosure. What you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if the buyer's going to have to pay anything additional, as the lender, we have to verify funds for closing, where they came from, and it's all government based. So we will have to get, bank statements or verify where the money is coming from to cover down payment and closing cost and the additional commission, if there would be any, as part of their total assets available for closing.
Yeah, and I obviously it hasn't come down yet. The biggest thing is that the real estate agent and the loan officer communicate that there is that commission being paid, because last thing I think everyone wants is to get 2 days before closing and a final closing disclosure comes out and there's a little surprise on there of agent commission that no one was aware of, and that's going to cause major problems, right? We don't want that. That would be a major issue. So I believe, Tom, you can follow up. Absolutely. I agree with Anthony. We are going to have to verify those funds. That's going to have to be put on the loan documents, and we're going to have to prove the buyer has enough to not only close on the loan, but then pay those commissions that's part of that transaction.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been doing this forever. I've been doing it for about 7-8 years now. And since I started, the $395 was always needed to be verified. It was $295 before that for Berkshire agents, and it was $395. That fee always gets verified as the buyer side commission. So if you're going to put more commission on there, yes, it's going to need verified.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, please remember, there are mortgage rules out there, especially for VA buyers. They are not allowed to pay buyer's commission. So that's going to be roadblock right there. That's not a specific lending institution role. That is a VA role specifically. So just to get that out there, I think that's been a big topic that everyone's now pretty aware that VA buyers cannot pay commission. But just to reiterate that. Now on the flip side, I'm sure you guys are getting questions. I'm getting questions. What is the financing world doing about all these potential changes? Because according to a lot of people in the real estate world, buyers are now not going to be able to afford houses if they have to pay commission on top. And so everyone keeps asking, well, the lender's going to have to let this be financed, right? Anthony, I would say that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every lender is going to be the same, but I mean, there's a lot of caveats to that and stipulations that could be. So, I mean, if let's just use the same scenario, say $1,000, right? I mean, ultimately, with multiple offers and things like that, the purchase price, is increased, in many aspects. But if that would be the case where, hey, the buyer doesn't have, that $1,000 in additional assets to bring to closing, the only other option would be to build it into the price. Now, when building it into the price, it doesn't mean, hey, everything's hunky dory. Basically, it has to still appraise, for that higher purchase price, if that would be the case. And then it would have to be given in the form of seller's assistance from the seller to go towards the cost of closing. So we're going to show that on our loan estimates and our final CD. We're also going to have to show the credit from the seller, for that additional $1,000. So it's being covered with their financing. That's
so
the
what
only
you're
other way
saying
you could do
is
it.
the only way to finance buyer's agency commission would be to offset it with seller assistance.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're going to increase the purchase price. You're going to ask the seller for seller assistance to literally dollar for dollar pay for your commission. Now, Anth, you're not going to be able to just put unlimited amount of commission into that transaction. You're still going to have to deal with the guidelines regarding seller assistance, whether it's 3%, 6%, whatever it may be. So please don't think, oh, yeah, we'll just put X amount of dollars, because if it's over that seller assistance amount or the seller does not agree to seller assistance, there is no financing this commission. FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, none of them have given one word of inclination that they are going to change their guidelines to fit buyers' commission. Not one of them. It hasn't been spoken about. Their regulatory boards, they're not going to speak about it, especially during an open lawsuit. So real estate agents, there is nothing on the horizon about financing buyer's commission. The only way you can do it is quote unquote financing through seller assistance, where you have to get the seller to pay the seller assistance to offset the commission. If they're going to do that, they might as well just agree to pay a buyer's agency commission from the beginning, because it's the same damn thing.
I agree with that. I mean, the agents need to be talking to their sellers, and for these listings, letting them know these are kind of the options that are down the road, and it may be difficult to get the right buyer in there to get them the commission. So it may be more beneficial to pay that buyer agency. So These are conversations that need to be had in the beginning.
And trust me, I understand this is not happening yet in our market. We don't want to have this conversation a month after it started happening. We need to have the conversation now. So if it does start becoming more prevalent in our market, we're prepared, we're ready, we're educated, we're good to go. So that's what we're seeing. That's what we're hearing. But please don't think that there's just going to be a magical wand on the financing end that's going to fix all this commission. Now, I will say, this seems like it can adversely affect groups of people that don't have a lot of funds, that aren't, the low to moderate income buyers that, they're trying to save up for a home, and now commission is going to be part of it. It is going to affect that group of buyers, and that's going to adversely hurt low to moderate income buyers that we're all trying to help in today's world. So I think the real estate side has to be careful of that, because obviously you don't want to drop a whole group of the population from being able to purchase a home.
Right.
No, I agree. I mean, everybody needs to be weary of that for sure.
Absolutely. But if anyone has any questions regarding what we just talked about, we're all going to be available, snowed in with a 1/4 inch of snow. The Anthony, before we go, the Anthony collection looks like they've added a new hat. Can we check out the new hat, Anthony? That is nice. That is limited edition West Penn gear. Again, if you work with Anthony and you need some gear, looks like he's got hoodies and t-shirts and hats.
That looks holographic, Ryan. Is that like a Charizard?
I like that.
It looks like a holographic little emblem there.
It's great. We need him out weeding in that hat, so it gets a little dirty, a little dirt on it, a little too clean right now.
He's going to get a jet ski mask next, and he's going to be riding that on his jet ski.
That's how we like our process. Our process is clean. That's how we like it.
Okay.
Got to keep the hat clean.
Well, fellas, have a great weekend. If anyone needs anything, reach out, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Have a good
Hey,
one.
guys.